be made to be afraid in order to be proudly who we are.
Rabbi Dan Horowitz of Nashville's Jewish Federation. 2 synagogues in Roswell, Georgia, were also threatened with bombs. Jason Halls is the rabbi at Temple Kehilat Chaim.
They're trying to make it impossible for Jews to gather together, and that's not what we're going to let happen.
Police in Washington, D.C. arrested a man Sunday for yelling, "Gas the Jews," while spraying an unknown substance outside a synagogue. Eben Brown, Fox News.
A tribute at the Supreme Court this morning to the first woman justice, the late Sandra Day O'Connor, lying in repose in the Great Hall after a private ceremony. Justice Sonia Sotomayor says,
"My friend Clarence once described Sandra as the glue of this court. I agree."
O'Connor was appointed in 1981, then retired, left the court 25 years later. She died this month at the age of 93. On Wall Street, small gains. The Dow's up 15 points, the Nasdaq's gaining 21. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Hey, this is Jeff McNeely, owner of G&M Milling Company in beautiful downtown Lowray. We at G&M hope you come by and see us for all your livestock needs. We stock feeds for all kinds of animals and hay too. We also have seed for a wide variety of forages for your animals. So come on by 4000 Taylorsville Highway, Statesville, or call us at 704-873-5758. We're worth the drive. Thank you again for supporting small family-owned businesses. God bless.
And now a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Sunny skies today, highs near 53 degrees. Wind gusts hanging around all day, 25 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear skies with lows around 25 degrees. Still windy overnight, 30 miles per hour wind gusts. And your Tuesday, sunny skies, highs near 43. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Any views expressed in this program do not necessarily represent those of WSIC.
All systems are a go.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your seats. Taking Care of Iredell with North Carolina State Representative Jeff McNeely is about to begin. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, Iredell County. Hope everybody's doing well out there this morning. It's not a bad day. It's a little windy, but other than that, get out and get some stuff done. It's a little muddy from the rain we got, but we needed the rain, so it's cool. It's cool. All right, got a lot going on today. Got District Attorney Sarah Kirkman going to join me here at the middle of the show for the last part of it. Going to talk about a lot of different things going on, especially the Public Defender's Office that we were able to create in the last budget and how critical that was for our court system going forward. So, look, can't wait to hear from her. She may try to get on in here in the studio just in a little bit. So if she does, we'll bring her in a little early and then chat with her at the halfway mark. Pardon me if I sound a little nasally or whatever. Got a little bit of a head cold, something going on, but it is what it is. It's that time of the year, and it seems like always around Christmas. I mean, like everybody always wants to get sick. I don't know why, but it does. So anyway, Joe, I think she's here now. I don't know if somebody can get her in or not, but anyway, had a lot going on. The filings are finally over with. They ended lunchtime Friday. And so it's kind of getting a little bit clear, as the old saying goes, maybe clear as mud with all the different races going on. School board, make sure I got my numbers right here. Looks like District 2. We got Natalie Ramos, Kevin Angel, and Lakeitha Bobish in District 4. Robert Thompson, Rhonda Hoke. District 6, Doug Knight, Alex Hobson, and Janka Peel. I'm probably misspelled that or mispronounced that for sure, but it's Jinaki. That should probably be Jinka Peel. I'm working on that, so I'll get better with my pronunciation. Also, you got the county commissioners. Looks like you got Beverly Morris, Brian Adams, which I think is no relationship to the one that was rock star. Melissa Nieder, coming back down a little bit. Richard Coleman, Angela Matthews, Gene Howe. William Compton Jr. from out of Mooresville, Scotty Brown, and Brad Howard. So we got quite a field there for 3 seats. And then we'll go back, get all that here. Looks like Sarah, who's coming in a little bit, is actually going to have a primary this time. So Sarah Kirkman, there's a David Addison running against her. We got all of our judges out there. Looks like the only one that's maybe in check is seat 32, or District 32, seat 3, Courtney Marlowe and Melissa Stewart. Hey, anybody wants to call in and talk about any of this, 704-873-1400. Give me a shout. Getting over to the U.S. House of Representatives, District 10. This is where Patrick McHenry, who's been our longtime representative, is. Let me take a sip of water, folks. I'm losing my voice. Excuse me. Anyway, District 10, Patrick Henry, longtime representative for us, is going to step down. He's retiring. And so there is quite a field looking to take his place. Looks like Ralph Scott Jr., I think that's the name that I'm not familiar with, but if it's who I think it is, he's here from Statesville. He's Democrat. Steve Feldman, Libertarian from over in Winston. Diane Jemison from Hickory's Republican, Pat Harrigan, Republican, Gray Mills from Mooresville, Republican, Charles Eller, a Republican from Davison, and Brooke McGowan come in at the last minute, Republican from down in Troutman. So we'll see how that plays out. And it looks like in our North Carolina Senate race, our Senator Vicki Sawyer's running again, and she's running against, looks like a Democrat, Kate Compton Barr. Do not know her from Davison. And in beloved District House 84, that's mine. It's me, Jeff McNeely, running for re-election against Chris Gilbert, Democrat from Troutman, and John Galena, Republican here from Statesville. So things are a little bit clearer than they were, but not exactly. So we're going to find out how this all goes, but it is that time of the year for the election season. So we will see how we move along in this. Could be interesting, should be interesting. I hope everybody runs a good, clean race, talks about yourself, not about the other candidate as far as running them down, because I think we got enough of that going on the federal side. We need to be able to be respectful and do what we need to do here in Iredell County to make sure we get the best qualified, most experienced people in the office so that we can do the best job we can for our constituents. One thing I did want to talk about is a bill that Senator Vicki Sawyer kind of started over in the Senate, and then I picked it up on our side. It's Senate Bill 154. And Senate Bill 154 basically involves tourism here in Iredell County. Now, it actually involved tourism in multiple counties and municipalities throughout the state. It was kind of an omnibus bill, and that means we threw everybody's tourism request for taxing people or whatever they wanted, or setting up tourism boards or setting up tourism districts. And there's been a lot of misinformation put out about this here in the county. And I think I need to set the record straight on Senate Bill 154. Back in 1985, a general statute was run by our legislators to help out with the building of the Statesville Civic Center. And not too long after that, the Mac Center was built in Mooresville. And it had been going on for years that the county, who was able to collect up to 3% of a 6% tax, 6% is the most we'll charge on hotel stays and well, we don't even really do the Airbnbs, but if we did hotel, motel stays, all those things where there's an occupancy tax. And so we had allowed the municipalities to collect the 6% and to keep it, and it helps them run and fund their civic center here in Statesville and the one down in Mooresville. They are not necessarily profit money generators, but they are a benefit to the community. And once in place, we had to figure out a funding mechanism to keep them going without necessarily having it be the local taxpayers do it through raising your property tax. So that's where the occupancy tax comes from. And we allowed them, we allowed the cities to keep the 6% whole to do it. And it works out that they use that to set up their tourism boards that they have. We actually have one here in Statesville. We have a tourism board in Mooresville. We need to, this bill will help us combine to have one main tourism board that is fed by the local municipality tourism boards. Now, I know this sounds a little complicated, but it's basically representatives from the Statesville, Mooresville, Troutman, any place that wants to have a tourism board that has hotels will be able to set up. My voice sounds horrible today. Sorry, folks. But we'll set up their ability to feed to the main board for it to kind of be the umbrella over the smaller boards and function as one board moving in the right direction, so we don't work against each other and we don't have so much duplicity. And this was really important, we felt like, because we did have a lot of duplicity going on in the county, and that just means we've got twice as many directors, twice as much staff. This will help calm that down a little bit, weed that down a little bit, and get it where we're more streamlined and we can use this. So this was an important bill, we felt like, because our tourism is actually starting to step up. It's starting to become something. And so we thought we need to get this in place. And I'll tell you where the misinformation is coming from when we get back here. We're going to take a commercial break here at the 11:15 mark. We'll be back in about 2 minutes, and I'll tell you where the misinformation is coming from and why. Stay tuned.
Taking care of Iredell with NC Representative Jeff McNeely will return after this short break on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. From December 24th through January 1st, WSIC will be playing Christmas music all day. And we can't forget about the last few Panthers games of the season. See you in 2024. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and cheers to the new year from all of us at WSIC. Celebrate Kane Center for the Arts' first anniversary gala, along with Broadway star Mandy Gonzalez. Dinner and a show, January 6th at Kane Center for the Arts. You may remember Mandy Gonzalez from her roles in Hamilton and Wicked. This is a black tie optional celebration. All-inclusive tickets include dinner and the show. Happy anniversary, Kane Center. Visit kanearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Want to see more than 5 million Christmas lights at one time? Speedway Christmas is back. Happening daily, the amazing Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway is happening now through January 7th. The show is open 6 to 10 p.m., rain or shine. The infield Christmas Village is open Thursday through Sunday nights. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway, now through January 7th. For tickets, visit charlottemotorspeedway.com. Santa is here! Schedule your time to take pictures between now and Christmas Eve in Birkdale. Appointments include Time with Santa and 8 digital images from the professional photographer. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on Events to submit your event today.
And now a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Sunny skies today, highs near 53 degrees. Wind gusts hanging around all day, 25 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear skies with lows around 25 degrees. Still windy overnight, 30 miles per hour wind gusts. And your Tuesday, sunny skies, highs near 43. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Johnson's Parts and Supply, your Auto Value Auto Parts store for 42 years, carries a full line of Wix filters for cars, trucks, and all types of heavy-duty equipment. Johnson's Parts, your Auto Value Auto Parts store, 1112 Shelton Avenue, Statesville.
'Tis the season on WSIC.
Speak with NC Representative Jeff McNeely at 844 Studio 4, taking care of Iredell on WSIC.
All right, back here for the middle of the show, getting ready to head towards the 11:30 mark. We'll take a little break then, but I do have District Attorney Sarah Kirkman in the studio with me. She's got here a little early, and we're glad to have her. How are you, Sarah?
I'm good. Doing well, thank you.
You sound better than me, so I'm assuming you are doing good.
I have a voice right now, but,
well, all right, good deal. You've been DA now for a while. How long? 12 years? 14 years?
16.
16.
I've been the DA since 2009.
All right, folks, DA stands for District Attorney.
Yes.
Okay, just make sure we understand.
Before that, I was an assistant district attorney from 1997. until
See,
then.
now you're starting to tell how old you are.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say all that or not. Anyway. All right, we'll get back to more on Miss Sarah here and talk a little bit. Like I said, we're going to talk about our public defender's office, which I think was a huge thing that we did this past time in the budget. It was probably the hardest thing we did because it was reoccurring, and they do not like reoccurring money in the budget. They do not. But anyway, back to Senate Bill 154 that I was talking about. And I asked Sarah, and she's not familiar with it, but I don't expect her to be. Tourism is not her goal. Putting people in jail, that is her goal. That is what she does, people that are guilty. So anyway, but the tourism boards were formed through this. And so what this is allowed now, it allows the county to go out and be able to tax in the unincorporated areas, which they weren't before. And where unincorporated areas are, basically, think of Lake Norman or Lake Lookout even. Part of that's still in Iredell. So anywhere that's not inside a municipality city limits is unincorporated. And before we ran this bill, they could not do a 6% occupancy tax on it. Now the county has the ability to do it. And looking at the numbers from this last year, and we don't know if we've got all the players, but what players we do know that are doing these Airbnbs and VRBOs and all these different things, it would have been somewhere between $3 and $4 million worth of taxable income to the county would come in now that they're able to do this. Now, the funny thing is, the county commissioners basically told us that, well, they want that, but they want their 3% from the municipalities too. And understand this, it got to a point where we played referee here. And the only way that everybody wins in the outcome is the bill we ran, Senate Bill 154, which allows the cities to still collect their 6%, but it creates the ability for the county to collect in the unincorporated areas. So they get 6% there, which is actually a larger number than the numbers that are in the municipalities. So if the county would have gotten their 6% in the unincorporated, plus the 3% from each of the municipalities would have had to backfill somewhere between $750,000 to $1 million into their budgets, respectively, Statesville and Mooresville, to keep funding their tourism board at the way they've done it. So understand, it was going to end up being that they were either going to have to raise property tax to backfill to help with the maintenance and the upkeep and running of their independent civic centers, or we keep it like it is, and the county gets $3 to $4 million. The city municipalities still collect their money, and everything goes on as planned. So what the misinformation is being thrown out there is that we didn't listen to the county. We didn't do what they wanted. But what we did do was what was right and what was fair to all concerns. And we feel like this was the best outcome of this law that we could have come up with. And now that the campaign season is starting, I'm hearing a lot of disinformation being put out about this, that we didn't pay attention, we didn't listen. No, my question is, and I guess it's going to be directed to the person that's putting out the majority of the disinformation, which is Commissioner Brad Stroud. Brad, just how much do you want to tax the citizens of Iredell County? I think they're taxed enough as it is, so I think we ought to be happy with the outcome we got, not be greedy and want everything we can and cause people's property tax to go up in the municipalities. That's what would have happened. So it looks like we have a caller. We'll take it and see what we got. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got?
Hey, Jeff, this is William here. Get you some Ricola cough drops. That'll help you with your voice and the head cold. When I get them head colds, I suck on those Ricolas, and they help my throat.
I wasn't doing too bad till I got here, it seemed like. The more I talked, the worse it's got. I guess I ain't been talking much. So.
And it gets you some lemon juice. But, yeah, real quick, I just wanted to – I know it's probably not priority, but with everything that's going on in Iredell County with the construction road projects and different businesses and whatnot going up, is there anything in the plans in the budget for putting new traffic lights up, particularly on Highway 70 headed east in the mornings when the sun's coming up? It's brutal, and you cannot see traffic lights, whether they're green or stale red or what have you. Is there a possibility that they could put up some ones like you see in Charlotte and some of the bigger cities that are real bright? I don't know if they're LEDs or what they are, but some of the lights that we have around here in town are like, if you will, what you would call it, pixelating or whatever. They go in and out, And so I was just curious as to wondering if then maybe they could put some up like that where people could see them.
Haven't really heard that request much, so I don't know, but I can look into it. I will tell you something that we have done at a couple of our more, we'll call dangerous intersections. We put up signs before it with 2 gala flashing lights, and as the clock's ticking, the light's getting ready to change from green to gala to red. Those lights they're back probably 150, 200 feet from the light. They will start to signal yellow to let you know the light's getting ready to change to red. And I think that's been a really good thing because, of course, some people still step on the gas. And that's where Sarah comes in. She works with them on traffic tickets after that. But still, I think that's a good thing because that way people aren't just slamming up to an intersection. They do know that the light's getting ready to change. Something's getting ready to happen.
That's a good thing. They got one over there, particularly at Old Hickory Highway and G. Banagable Boulevard.
Yep.
It really helped out in that area. There's been a lot of wrecks through the years at that particular intersection, but there's been also a lot of wrecks out there on J.C. Penney's side, on the east side of 70. And I was just curious if maybe they could put something like that. You got a lot of traffic lights right there in that one area within a 500-foot range of each other, but it'd be kind of hard to put a warning light there, but just put some brighter lights to where people can see them.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to my local DOT, see what we can get worked out. And maybe there's a place right there. I do know kind of as you come down the hill there, I guess the new ABC store's the only thing left. The car dealership's gone. But as you come down, a lot of people want to pick up speed right there. And that might be a good intersection to have one of those flashing yellow because there's a lot going on there. There's a couple of yield lanes and some turns, and you got Gordon Metal has a lot of people, truck traffic coming in and out. So make them look at the flashing lights there, see if that would be a thing. They'll do their little study and determine it, but might be something to talk about.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, Jeff. Appreciate everything you do, and hope you get well soon, and hope you and your family have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, okay?
William, I hope the same to your family, too. Y'all take care. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
All right. So anyway, getting back a little bit on that Senate Bill 154, make sure you know the facts, folks. Make sure everybody knows the facts, because I'm afraid even some of the people that think they know the facts don't really understand and know the facts of how this bill works. But it was a win-win. The county's going to be able to collect money. They're also going to be able, and they could have done this before, zone some of these. Well, they need to zone them all. All these houses down on the lake that are being rented out, they need to go ahead and get them zoned so they can regulate them. Now, Sarah, you've ran into some of this probably here. I don't know if they've ever been able to get anybody charged, but constantly neighbors are calling the sheriff's department and complaining and saying, they got loud parties and this, that, and the other. Has any of that ever made it up to the court system yet?
I mean, we get some of those charges, especially if there's underage drinking or if there's, noise ordinance violations. I mean, we get some of those in our court system.
Well, I have people call me all the time wanting us to do something. So we did something. So now they can be regulated. And I think that was a really important part, trying to make sure we got them regulated. One of the things I did want to bring up too real quick, we do now have a new state auditor, Roy Cooper. The governor has appointed Jessica Holmes as auditor to replace Beth Woods. She's a Wake County attorney with no accounting or auditing expertise at all. She was the past attorney, general counsel, for the North Carolina Teachers Association, maybe the NCAE, Association of Educators. So I don't know how that qualifies you to be a auditor, but that's who he wanted. I think they just were looking for somebody to fit the mold they were looking for a candidate, and she did file to run for auditor again. So this will be interesting to see. One other thing I want to bring up, we got about 2 minutes till we get there. Guess what, folks? After the federal government sent California hundreds of billions of dollars over the last couple of years for COVID, they actually got enough money at one time when Governor Gavin Newsom thought he was going to get recalled that he sent out money to everybody. They had ran deficit. All of a sudden they had a surplus. Instead of looking at how to calm and trim their debt, he decided he'd give people money to buy their votes, which he did, and he's still in there. Now they are back to a $68 billion deficit after getting all this money from the federal government. And basically what that tells me is it's funny. You always hear the Democrat side, the liberal side say, we're gonna tax the rich, the ultra rich. We're gonna go after them. Well, now they're saying one of the reasons they have this big deficit is that a lot of the ultra rich, the people they were going to tax and get all this money from, have left California. Go figure. You know, somebody that's got a lot of money, they don't have to live in California. They don't have to live in the United States. So I always remember when we talk about how we're going to go after the wealthy, the ultra rich, and tax them 50, 75%, all these crazy numbers, and it sounds great on the campaign trail, they'll leave. They'll go. So it's not going to work. And then they come back to the people that can't leave, who are us, middle class, and they're going to tax us. And that's where the money really comes from. So stay tuned. Got Sarah Kirkman, our district attorney, coming up. Till then, take care. See you at the second part.
More Taking Care of Iredell.
It's going to be a hard show here.
59 100.7 WSIC.
Hey, this is Jeff McNeely, owner of G&M Milling Company in beautiful downtown Lowray. We at G&M hope you come by and see us for all your livestock needs. We stock feeds for all kinds of animals and hay too. We also have seed for a wide variety of forages for your animals. So come on by 4000 Taylorsville Highway, Statesville, or call us at 704-873-5758. We're worth the drive. Thank you again for supporting small family-owned businesses. God bless.
And now look at
But you can still get in on all the holly jolly happenings by registering at WSICnews.com/holiday. Gifts for him, gifts for her, gifts for the kids, gifts for me.
Hey, Dave, you're not eligible to win?
What? Dang it. Well, that's more for everyone else. Register now at WSICnews.com/holiday. Merry Christmas from WSIC.
Taking Care of Iredell continues. Here's your host, NC Representative Jeff McNeely, on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right. Back here for the second part of the show. Got District Attorney Sarah Kirkman here with me, and I'm going to take the headphones off, Sarah, if you want to. We can. We can just talk. Yeah, we don't have to listen to all that.
No, because I mess up my hair.
I know it does get tough on the hair. It does. Anyway, when we're sitting here together, folks, you actually get some playback through the headphones. It kind of messes with you a little bit. So it's just easier just to sit here and just talk. Sarah, you, like I said, been district attorney now 16 years.
Well, it'll be 16 at the end of this term.
Yeah. So, I mean, long time serving, assistant DA before that, know how it works, know how everything goes on. Tell us a little bit something about us we don't know about you, maybe.
That you don't know about me.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Family, life, whatever.
I'm from Iredell County. I'm a Greyhound. I went to Statesville High School. I went to Carolina to journalism school. I don't know if you knew that. But
I didn't know that.
I graduated from journalism school, and I actually worked at 2 newspapers when I graduated. I worked at the Shelby Star as the weekend editor, and then I worked at the Winston-Salem Journal as a copy editor.
That's a big one.
And then I guess I got tired of working every night, weekend, holiday, and I went back to school. I went to law school, and I went to Campbell. And then when I graduated from Campbell, I came back to Statesville, and I worked for Burt Walser.
I remember him.
You remember Burt Walser. And that wasn't a permanent job. That was kind of just a, hey, I'll give you something to do till you get a real gig. And then I got on with the DA's office, and I started in 97, January 2nd, and I've been there ever since. So,
well, and you've tried a lot of high-profile cases, murder cases we've had, crazy different cases. Through the years, I remember there's been everything from huge drug busts to the whole 9 yards. So you've seen it all, done it all, and you've got the experience, and you're there. You are having a primary. This is one of the first times anybody's primaried you in a long, long time. I mean, you've been doing a good job. I think you're still doing a good job.
Thank you.
The question always is, and I asked Sarah this the other day, I said, what's the deal here? You've done a good job. Why does anybody want a primary? Same thing I ask of myself, but there you go. People want to do what people want to do.
That's right.
I do know this, and I'll tell y'all folks a little story. Went to the city council and had a select few of them meet with me and Senator Sawyer and Gray Mills, representative from the south end of the county, and we were trying to help things in South Statesville. They wanted to meet and talk about South Statesville, and we show up, and we never really talked much about what we could do for South Statesville. They mainly talked about the district attorney and how people weren't getting tried. Well, this was all during COVID, and things weren't easy during COVID. It became impossible because of the attorney general and the governor's orders. And the court system basically shut down. Now, we were still arresting people. We just didn't know what the heck to do with them and where to put them. So,
and can I say something to that?
Yeah.
So what I want to say about that is I'm very proud of my office because during COVID, the Chief Justice said you can't have jury trials. So 14 months we were without jury trials. 14 months. So, but what we did do was we continued to have district court. We continued to have traffic court. We went to Superior Court for all the things that we could do, any of the pleas that we could do, any of the bond hearings we had to have. We continued to do all of that all the way through COVID. And I mean, that's my staff. They were in there doing that the whole time. And you may hear about some other districts. I mean, they shut court down altogether.
Mecklenburg.
I wasn't going to call names,
Well,
but
I'll call whatever.
They shut court down altogether, and we didn't do it.
They were shut down for almost 18 months, I think it was. It was outrageous.
We stayed the course, and we came out of it, I think, with even some better systems than we had before because we had to do things a little bit differently, and I think we came out really on top after that. And it was a good experience with my staff, and everybody just, stuck together, and I think we did a great job administering justice.
Well, Iredell is a big county, and not only in land mass, but in people mass, too. A lot of people. And we have 2 courts. We have the one in Mooresville, the old hospital. Not sure if that was ever a good idea or not, but that's what we got.
Right.
And then we have the one here, which is kind of weird to a point because I know a lot of people get a traffic ticket in Statesville and have to go to Mooresville to get it worked out and back and forth and whatnot, but that's what we're doing. But that stretches your office pretty thin, having 2 different court systems to work in one county to a point, or 2 different courthouses, let's put it that way. Do you have the people you need to get the job done?
Well, also, I have another county.
I'm
not just Iredell County. I'm Alexander County, too. I have 15 positions for assistant DAs, and I never thought I would say this, but I'm having trouble filling them, I guess, like everybody is with finding qualified candidates these days. So I have 14 right now, so I still have one opening. If there's anybody out there listening, attorney and licensed to practice in North Carolina. It's a great job. So, is it ever enough? It's never enough. I mean, we could have court all day, every day, and I could have 3 times the staff I have because I mean, we're out there keeping the community safe. I mean, and we need all the resources we can get. We have a little bit of trouble at times. You said we have 2 courthouses, but the one we have here, we have a little bit of trouble at times having enough sessions, having enough places to have sessions of court, because it's not just criminal court that happens in our courthouse. We have civil court too, and they have terms of superior court and civil court, and we have to share our courtroom with them. So we do have a little bit of an issue just getting our cases into court to be heard. But I guess in answer to your question, I like my staff that I have now, and I think we do a great job. Is it ever enough? Probably not.
Well,
and that's probably the answer for every district.
Yeah, and sadly, business cycles come and go, but crime seems to keep growing.
That's right.
And Darren Campbell, and doing a great job as our sheriff, trying to keep the crime down. That just means he's arresting more people. People are still thieving, and they're still doing. He's just arresting more. So I mean, the court system, and we had a meeting with every stakeholder in the county after the 22 election. It was a couple weeks after November. Me, Senator Sawyers, Representative Gray Mills, we all met down in Troutman, and had everybody come in, gave 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what they all had, come in, and you came before us. And one of the things that we saw we needed, and one of the problems is, especially coming out of COVID, the backlog is the public defender's office. We do not have one. We're getting one, but we do not have one as of yet. It's in the infancy stages of it. But that's going to allow you to make sure that the courtrooms that we do have, we're utilizing them, because it just got to the point, and I'm not saying anything bad about a lot of the lawyers out there, people weren't doing the public defender service. They weren't willing to take what the state was offering and pay. They could make more doing the regular caseloads. And so you come to us and said, this is something we need. And maybe just elaborate on what you're saying. And folks, before we got in the budget for public defender, there were only 3 other counties in North Carolina that had a public defender. In this budget, there ended up being 3 more now, so there's a total of 6, which is going to make Iredell and Alexander pretty unique out of 100 that will have a public defender's office. So just tell us, what's this going to do for you?
Well, first of all, I think that the reason it got to this point, I couldn't really say, except that, I know the rate that lawyers were being paid to do the court-appointed work has not changed in a number of years, so it hasn't kept up with the times. And like you said, I mean, lawyers, they have other obligations and other things they could be doing. So our court-appointed list got to the point where we had so few lawyers on it that what that meant for my office was, when we got ready for a term of court and we had these cases on this list that were up for trial, one attorney might have 5 or 6 cases on that same list. Well, there's no way they could prepare adequately for all of those cases. So one case might get tried, or maybe that defendant failed to appear, but then the rest of them inevitably would get continued. So, I mean, that's justice delayed in that situation. And so I feel like with the public defender's office, we're very hopeful that we will be able to handle these cases more expeditiously, and that because it's a little known fact that district attorneys are not just advocates. We're supposed to be ministers of justice. So really it's up to us to try to make sure that these defendants get represented and that these cases get heard. And of course we want our victims to have justice. So we want cases to be heard and heard in a timely manner.
Well, and that was the thing at that meeting I had with some of the city council people. I wasn't talking about a food desert in South Statesville, wasn't talking about poor transportation issues in South Statesville, wasn't talking about poor job opportunities in South Statesville. They were talking about justice, that they wanted to see justice. And I understand where they're coming from, but that's not really their lane. So I thought it was kind of odd they brought that up to us to want to fix. But you know what? Here's a fix for South Statesville then, is the public defender's office. We're going to get more people to court. We're going to get them tried. And if they're innocent, we're going to get them out of our jails. If they're guilty, we're going to move them on to the next step in the jail. A lot of people don't realize, excuse me, a lot of people don't realize once we incarcerate somebody, we become responsible for them. So if they have a sickness, they have any kind of issues whatsoever, we pick up their medical tab as a county. So having somebody sit down there for a year or two is just that much more liability we take on. We've had people in there with stage 4 pancreatic cancer that have died in jail, and just different things that's cost us a lot of money as a county that people don't realize. And so it is critical to go ahead and get them taken care of and get them prosecuted and see if they're guilty or innocent, whichever, but move them to the next step in the court system, to the next step, incarceration.
Right.
So that's real critical. So it'll be interesting. And I think it's down to 2 names now. Tell us a little bit about the process. How are we going to do this public defender deal?
So the process started back at the beginning of December. We had a meeting with the lawyers in Iredell and Alexander County, and we voted on a couple of things during that time. The first thing we voted on was whether we were going to submit 2 or 3 names. We voted, you submit 2 names. So then we had to vote for a name, and then they counted to see who got the most votes, and then they gave us the results of that with those 2 names.
All right, folks, we're going to take a break. If you want to hear who the 2 names are, stay tuned.
More Taking Care of Iredell with NZ Representative Jeff McNeely is coming up on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. From December 24th through January 1st, WSIC will be playing Christmas music all day. And we can't forget about the last few Panthers games of the season. See you in 2024. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and cheers to the new year from all of us at WSIC. Celebrate Kane Center for the Arts' first anniversary gala, along with Broadway star Mandy Gonzalez. Dinner and a show, January 6th at Kane Center for the Arts. You may remember Mandy Gonzalez from her roles in Hamilton and Wicked. This is a black tie optional celebration. All-inclusive tickets include dinner and the show. Happy anniversary, Kane Center. Visit kanearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Want to see more than 5 million Christmas lights at one time? Speedway Christmas is back. Happening daily, the amazing Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway is happening now through January 7th. The show is open 6 to 10 p.m., rain or shine. The infield Christmas Village is open Thursday through Sunday nights. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway, now through January 7th. For tickets, visit charlottemotorspeedway.com. Santa is here! Schedule your time to take pictures between now and Christmas Eve in Birkdale. Appointments include Time with Santa and 8 digital images from the professional photographer. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
And now a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Sunny skies today, highs near 53 degrees. Wind gusts hanging around all day, 25 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear skies with lows around 25 degrees. Still windy overnight, 30 miles per hour wind gusts. And your Tuesday, sunny skies, highs near 43. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Here's wishing you a warm and happy holiday season. WSIC.
It's Taking Care of Iredell with NC Representative Jeff McNeely on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, back here for the last part of the show. Got District Attorney Sarah Kirkman with us, talking a little bit about her office and things that are going on. And, we're talking about getting this public defender's office, and so it's down to 2 names, Sarah. So who are the 2 names?
So the 2 names are Seth Johnson and Sam Winthrop.
Okay.
Now, what happens now is, and when we had that vote, only people who lived in the district could vote.
Mm-hmm.
And when we after we had that vote, they gave us the 2 top vote getters. So what happens now is the Administrative Office of the Courts gets to submit a name. It'll come back to us, and our Senior Resident Superior Court Judge, Crosswhite, he'll have to make the decision. I think he may have a committee to decide. And then February 1st is the word I hear when it should start. I don't think it'll be up and operating, but that's when, a person should be named and they should start preparing to start doing business.
Yeah, and I think we got 1.2 or 1.3 million in the budget reoccurring a year. And folks, just to let you know out there, it was in the budget, then it was kicked out of the budget. We got it back in the budget, then darn it was kicked out again out of the budget. Then we really tried to do some work. Me, Sawyer, Gray Mills, Mitchell Setzer, we all jumped in, hustled, and got it shoved back in at the last minute. So we didn't think we were going to get it. When the budget finally did hit our desk, come out, and it was in there, it was like Christmas for us. We got it pulled off because I was just afraid we were going to get bid again because there's just not many of these offices across the state. And also in that is there's another 500 and some thousand for the housing, basically, and the support staff.
Well, right, because it'll be similar to my office. Of course, the public defender will be named, appointed, not elected. And then I think they said that for our office, there will be 11 attorneys. So they'll have assistant public defenders, just like I have assistant district attorneys who are attorneys licensed in North Carolina to practice. And then they'll have some support staff too. The number I think they said was 7. And then I guess it'll be just like my office where the county has to provide, because we're a state agency, but the county provides our office space.
Right.
So
and that's what it come down to, and that's where the 500 and some thousand for the support staff and for the rent of the bill. Do we know where we're going to put it exactly?
I've not heard.
Well, I guess Beth Mull's got work to do. Her and Susan over there, Susan Robertson, they'll figure it out. County manager, assistant manager. So be interesting. I like to see how this plays out. So that this third person, it could be one of the first 2, or it's definitely going to be a different third person, or we don't know.
We don't know.
Huh? So that's interesting. I did not know AOC would come back in, and that's Administrative Office of the Court, not the other AOC. So you know that.
Right.
Did not know that they would submit a third name. I thought it would be up to us to decide, and it'd be the end of it. So learning something on this too. Who knows?
It'll be interesting. It's going to be new to everybody. When some of the people who had put their name in for it were talking, there were some questions, and they were like, I really don't know how to answer that because we've never had one before. So It's going to be a lot of, we'll just have to see how things go, and we'll all learn together.
All right. Well, once again, unfortunately, your job is a political position. You are elected. So let's talk a little bit about that. You've told us a little bit of the history. You've been there 16 years as the main DA and quite a few years before that as assistant DA. So you've got the experience on your side. You know the game.
Right.
You've been there, done that, as the old saying goes.
I always say I've tried everything from a speeding ticket to a capital murder case.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I think I've seen it all.
The person running against you has, I think, very little to hardly any litigation behind them that I know of, especially none as a assistant district attorney or district attorney. So they've never done this. So it's basically 16, throw in your other about 26 years of experience, something like that. So 26 years of experience versus 0. I always say it's good to know a known commodity, and I would say you're a known commodity. Tell us why the voters of Iredell County should keep you as our district attorney.
Well, I mean, I think probably the main thing is I'm always fair. I think if you talk to attorneys, if you talk to prosecutors, if you talk to law enforcement, I try to do what's fair and what's right. You have to look at each case individually. You can't just have random policies that you go by. Each case is its own set of facts, and you have to look at them that way. I think I, as well as my office, have done a great job with advising law enforcement. That's one of our responsibilities under the statute, as well as handling the criminal dockets. We're taxed with advising law enforcement. We have a great relationship with our law enforcement partners in Iredell and in Alexander County. They have all of my assistant DA's cell phone numbers and my cell phone number that they can call us anytime they want to. I think I've really made those relationships work for justice in this district. Also, we've innovated. We've done different things to try to make court better. We've brought H&I Felony District Court. What that is the lower level felonies get tried in district court. You can do them much quicker than doing them in Superior Court. We've disposed of just a large number of cases that way that it would have taken much longer to do in Superior Court. It's taken some of the burden off the Superior Court of hearing those minor felonies so we can concentrate more on the violent crimes and felonies in Superior Court. We've done things like we have assigned time slots for attorneys now, so everybody knows when they're coming to court and what they're going to do.
Miracle.
Everybody doesn't always abide by their time slots, but my office goes to great lengths to assign time slots to attorneys, so that helps not only us and the clerks and the judges and everybody else in the court system, it helps the attorneys too, because they don't want to sit over there waiting to do their plea for 3 hours. You know, they know when their time slot is and when they can come. We've done that with grand jury. Before I was the boss, grand jury officers just had to go be there in the morning and stay there till their case was heard. We now make a schedule, so they go and they testify before the grand jury on a schedule. Just different things we've done. I think one of the things I'm most proud of and that's most recent is Veterans Treatment Court.
Yeah, we helped fund that, and that's been a big thing, kind of getting them out of the mainstream court system.
I had people come to me that were interested in that, and I said, hey, this sounds great. And we went with it, and we went to another district and watched how they did it, and now we're up and running. We've been running since October, and really, we owe it to our veterans. I mean, we owe it to them to try to help them if we can. And I want people to understand that Veterans Treatment Court, it's not that they're getting out of what they've done. It's that they accept that they need help for substance abuse.
A lot of it's mental health issues.
And they're accepting that they need help. And a lot of it's harder than if they would just go in and take care of the case just as Joe citizen and be on probation. There are a lot more hoops they have to jump through, and a lot of it's harder because they have to want it. They have to want the help. And so proud of that, Veterans Treatment Court. And those are just some of the things that we've done. We haven't just been business as usual. We're just going to keep on doing the same things that were done before us. We're trying all the time to make sure that we're handling as many cases as we can, but still looking out for our victims. That's our main priority, is getting justice for our victims.
Well, and like I said, you could have easily just stayed status quo and done, but you stepped up and gone above and beyond, trying to find new ways to help ease the caseloads, the workloads of the cases out there of criminals. This is the first time you've actually had a primary opponent in a long time.
Since the first time I ran.
Yeah. So, to me, that's telling me you've done a pretty good job.
Thank you.
But, there's always somebody somewhere. So
that's right.
I don't know exactly what their platform is. I don't know what they're up to, but I think experience matters. I think it matters a whole lot. Social media, how can we track Sarah Kirkman?
Sarah Kirkman, District Attorney on Facebook.
Sarah Kirkman, District Attorney. So go on there, follow her. You're like me. I'm not big on the social media game. I just try to do my job and go about my business,
That's right.
But unfortunately, that means a lot. People want to see what you're up to, I guess. So you do have to go out there and you do have to do these things. Well, Sarah, I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate what you do for the county.
Well, thank you.
I feel like we are very blessed to have you as our district attorney. And I know Alexandra feels the same way. And I hope that you have a successful primary and you continue on. That. You do not have a Democrat opponent, right?
Right, no.
So once the primary's over, it's over. Okay. Well, that's a good thing. So hopefully that will move forward and everything will work out good there. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. As far as Christmas goes, anything big going to happen in your family? Or?
Oh, gosh. I hope not. I hope that we have a nice, quiet Christmas with our family. Yes.
Just peaceful.
It'll be different. I think, my father passed away this year. So it'll be different, but it's going to be great. My mom had some bad health scares, and she's doing great. So
well, thank goodness for that.
I think we're going to have a good Christmas.
All right. Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. All right, folks. Well, glad to have Sarah in here today. I hope everybody else out there has a great Christmas. We'll probably have a repeat of this show next Monday, I think, because that'll be Christmas in, or we still got one in between. Yep, that's it, isn't it?
It'll be all Christmas music on the station.
Ah, really? Well, folks,
Very
you
nice.
need to record this somehow or another so you can play this again next Monday at 11 o'clock. So it'll be all Christmas music. So you won't even get to hear this gravelly voice of mine and struggle through it. So let's go ahead and say a prayer, though. Dear Heavenly Father, dear Lord, we thank you. We thank you for the birth of your Son, our Savior, and we celebrate his birth. And, Lord, we just pray that that many out there, if not all, come to know him as their Savior. I pray you be with us, lead and guide us. Help us as elected people to follow the laws that set forth in your book, your guideline of how to live. Dear Lord, I just pray you be with us all. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. All right, folks, y'all have a Merry Christmas out there and a Happy New Year, and I pray you be safe. Till then, take care.
You've been listening to North Carolina Representative Jeff McNeely. Join Jeff again next Monday morning at 11:05 for Taking Care of Iredell on News Talk WSIC.
Happy holidays.